Welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've done an update on the B-Rex 10x10 I'm building. And that's just because well, life gets busy and I had a house project I had to take care of. But back to business. The last video I discussed locking the center axle and adding more double shocks. We added double shocks in the rear, but we need to do it throughout the whole vehicle because it just still has way too much roll. Oh, my idea to lock this out is to remove the servo, and I had a spare axle, so I went ahead and used it to do all my templates off of. So I drew this template up, and I don't have any video of me building it because I did it in between calls at work. And I took this nice piece of stainless steel, and this is some pretty rigid stuff, and it should fit right here. Bolts right into the servo mount holes. These will slide over top on both ends. There we go. And we get that all set up and lined up. That's basically how it's going to be. So that should provide a pretty good locker. So I'm going to get that transferred over to here and start doing some more double shocks, and we'll go from there. That all turned out pretty good. I think that'll lock it up pretty nicely. You can see the bracketry. So now we have to start doing the double shock mounts. And like we have on the back here, we work our way up, kind of hard to see with the tires. But we have an old Red Cat shock tower that I cut up and made into double shock mounts for the rear to test it out. And I made a template of that, so I need to trace out a bunch of these and start making some of these guys. Alright, after digging through one of my scrap metal drawers, I came across a couple pieces of aluminum that are about the right thickness. I pick up any piece of non-ferrous metal that I think might be usable in the future and throw them into bins like this, and they turn out great for projects. These are some tricky little guys to cut out, so I traced 3 out on this piece and pre-drilled all of them, and I am using my Dremel tool with the cutoff wheel. That's kind of a tricky deal. Pretty much have this one done. I just gotta pop that little corner out a little bit and then chop out the other ones. Everything measured out, drilled out, and if you look at the shock angle to the one behind it, you can see how much I've changed the shock angle. And this being the center axle, I'm gonna make the shocks, they're almost at 90 degrees. And I'm wanting want that to be able to provide a lot of stability right there, especially since we locked this servo out. I drilled everything out from the Red Cat hardware, which was just these little flimsy screws that looked like, this one of them, yeah, something kind of like that. Drilled them out and put a nice M3 hardware in there. Now my shocks are not going to match. Heck, I think I've got 3 different brands of shocks on here now, but I don't care. I'm trying to use as much stuff up as I can from other builds and stuff I have left over. And you know, that's the beauty of a junkyard build when you're making something from the apocalypse. Just use what you got laying around. It doesn't have to match. I'm gonna get the other one on and go ahead and the shock angle is very severe in the front. It's really kicked back far, so I'm gonna take that up a little bit more vertical. This thing doesn't need to have a crazy amount of flex anyway. So I'm gonna get working on that and I'll get back with you. We have made it. 5 motors, 10 tires, 20 shocks, 4 servos, and everything seems to be playing nice for once. So I want to do a quick test and see how much body roll this thing has. The reason we went with the 20 shocks over just the standard 1 per axle side is we had terrible body roll with this thing. We're finally at the point where we can test this. There's a long way to go, but that center axle being locked, I think, is pretty beneficial. It seems to really be helping it. It doesn't seem to affect the steering at all either. I still have very tight steering for a vehicle this size. This thing's 3 foot 2 inches.
Well, let's see. Let's kind of take it sideways up over this. Just a giant centipede. I think this is going to turn out to be a pretty daggone fun little truck to drive. Okay, not too bad at all. So we finally reached the point where I can start doing driving tests and start concentrating on maybe some of the extras instead of just the essentials to make it drive. Now there's a long ways to go. Nothing's in its final lockdown position. The wiring's still on there very temporarily. It's just kind of wire tied up in place. And the wheels, tires, all these plastic parts, they're not the best. I'm hopefully going to be able to make some more metal parts and keep switching out and upgrading as we go. It's even possible, if it turns out after I get all the weight on it I need more power, I can always add a second ESC. There's a lot of possibilities with this thing. But thanks for watching, everybody. It's up and running, and so this isn't meant to be a serious rock crawler, but I want it to be a really efficient trail truck. I think it's going to do it. And I think it's going to look pretty cool too. Well, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We'll be doing more on this for sure. And I will catch you on the next video. Smash that like, hit that subscribe. Later.